had the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change. Our roads were lined with adventure, mountains in the way couldn't keep us from the sea. Here we stand, open arms. This is home where we are, ever strong in the world that we made. I still hear you in the breeze, see your shadows in the trees.
Good evening everyone and welcome to another of my live streams. This is the 106th live stream and today's moderator is KrzaQ. You can see his nickname right here. Now if you have any questions, you actually don't need to ask KrzaQ anymore. It's enough if you just write !Q and then the question, and that also magically works thanks to the bot which was prepared by KrzaQ. Yeah. If that doesn't work, then ask KrzaQ. Anyway, yeah, what's the topic today? Oh, the topic today is PicoCTF. Again? Yes, again, because we still have a couple of challenges to finish. Yeah, quite a lot actually, and it might take some time still to finish them, because they are quite, well, getting harder and harder with each challenge, but I think we'll get there until the next PicoCTF happens, and we'll finish all the challenges which are on the side, I hope. Yeah, so again, if you have any questions, !Q and then the question. Otherwise, just ask KrzaQ. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not sure if the bot actually works. We'll see. In any case, how long are you planning to stream today? It's 1.5 hours usually, or up to 2 hours. I usually start the main topic around 1/4 so that would be 8 p.m., 8:15 actually in my time zone. No idea what's the time in your time zone, but yeah, there we are. So before we get there, I'm going to do some news, and then questions, and then 1/4 we start with PicoCTF. Perfect. So this is... oh, perfect, my zooming is not working. Can I do this? My zooming is not working like this either. Oh well, I guess there will be no zooming today. Like, Logitech, get your drivers together, please. So, this is KrzaQ's website, dev.krzaQ.cc. Feel free to visit it. I'm pretty sure there's amazing stuff there. This is PageOut website, which you probably know. PageOut is still delayed, but we are getting there. We should be able to start reviews next week for the article, so if you are still considering writing something for PageOut, you still have a couple of, like, I would say 2 weeks about. Yeah. Yeah, apart from that, the page looks as usual, but it's actually a new page. Like, the backend has been fully switched. It was thanks to Dejan, who you can see here, our new full stack engineer. And Dejan basically reworked the backend of this website, because when I started the project, I, well, basically just written it in PHP on my knee, how to say it, as in I'm not really putting a lot of effort, but thankfully Dejan stepped up and rewritten the whole site. So yeah, if anything doesn't work on the site, just let me know, but it should be working same as it was working before, with some, like, even the links should be the same. It was basically a seamless backend swap with some minor differences. I think some of the assets are now in a different directory, but that's about it. Yeah. Then, if you like web security and web challenges, you should actually follow me on Twitter, because I'm posting web challenges there from time to time. Well, I've been actually posting a challenge per every day for a couple of weeks now. And the 5th level of Express.js / Node.js web security challenge is up. Yeah, have fun, solve it. It's basically like super simple. There's like one trick which you have to find. All of these challenges are like this, like find one trick. And they're more meant as learn a new trick rather than, or learn something about the, I don't know, protocol, Express or Node, and not really a full-blown CTF task. So they're like pretty short. If you know what you're doing, it should take you a couple of minutes only. Yeah. If you are not following me on Twitter, then you can also go to our Discord. And on our Discord, we have a challenges channel. And if you're wondering where the Discord is, you can go to my blog. And here, like on my blog, there's this about section. In the about section here, about me, you can go to our Discord channel, which is actually pretty large. There's like a lot of people there, so I would like to invite you there. Apart from that, if you did not solve previous challenges, then Oshogbo is publishing write-ups with some delay for all the challenges, and he published also a write-up for the 4th challenge. So I guess I can give you a link on both on YouTube and on and on our Discord and on our IRC, because we still have IRC. And I think that's all from the news I had today. This is, well, you know the site, PicoCTF. We have still 21 unsolved challenges. We have 85 already solved. Let me try to maybe get the drivers fixed for zooming, because it's pretty weird. Yeah, Logitech is weird. Like the drivers for Logitech, they don't like my keyboard. They don't like their keyboard. Anyway, so yeah, this is what we'll be focusing today. But for now, I'm going to take a look if there are any questions. Test. Yes, the test did work. I already answered this one. Let me maybe show you the questions. The questions will appear here. Do you know at least one security researcher that works as researcher without industrial software development experience, but has solid programming knowledge anyway? Yeah, yes, sure. I mean, quite a lot actually. Like, I know a lot of security researchers who have a lot of programming knowledge, but never worked as a programmer per se in their life. I worked only strictly as a programmer, also not for a long time either, so that's pretty normal. I don't believe like that you need to have typical programming experience to be a security researcher. You do need to have programming skills, but there's a difference. Like when you're a programmer, like a real programmer with a capital P, then you also need to know some other stuff which is absolutely not required for security applications, for security research applications. For example, stuff like test-driven development, like Scrum and Agile, and some deeper knowledge about algorithms. Then about like how to design super large applications and so on. This is something you do not need to know as a security researcher usually, unless you are writing a tool, but that's something different because then you're stepping kind of into the shoes of a programmer. But you do need like to have to be able to write security tools basically. So that's a subset, I would say, of a skill a normal programmer would have. Okay. As a security guy, how do you manage passwords? Do you use different long passwords for all your sites? Do you have, or do you use a password manager? Do you use two-factor authentication or something like that? Good question. I basically, it depends. Like, there are some stuff which I almost don't care about, and I have reusable passwords for that. It's like somebody hacks me, like meh, like whatever, and just get a new account. Though I do have like even two-factor enabled everywhere there. I try to have, you know, what's it called? Is it this one? Yeah, like YubiKeys. YubiKeys, this is the word I was looking for. I have YubiKeys, quite a lot of them actually, for various stuff, even for the stuff I do not care for, and I try to use that. If that doesn't work, then there's like some other forms of two-factors usually, which are available. So two-factor is really, I try to use it everywhere. Then for about like password managers, so I both use password managers and I also use generated passwords. So there are like pros and cons for every method. Both like a password manager is basically an encrypted database of passwords, and it can generate a new password which is secure for you. And then there is a master password for the database. The problem is if you lose the database, you're going to be sad, very, very sad. So yeah, like remember about backups in that case. So that's one approach. The other approach is generating passwords, where you basically have some password derivation function from a master password, and the resource, like, I don't know, like a website or something, and then you need just that tool. And like you lose that tool, you just download it again. And yeah, when you enter the master password, the website, and it shows you the password which you have for it. It doesn't store it, it just predictably generates it again. Well, predictably as long as you have a master password, otherwise it's fully unpredictable. The problem here is key rotation. In a password manager, you can easily rotate the passwords. As in, like, I don't know, like somebody hacks a website and you need to change your password there, so you just like click, yeah, generate a new password for me in the password manager. This is a little bit more tricky with password generators, because in that case you do not, you have to either use a different master password or like, I don't know, like change the ID of the resource somehow. Like for example, if the website would be, I don't know, like mail.com, and you'd have to change the password, so you might go for www.mail.com or mail.com2 or something like that, and it starts tricky. Like, so password manager is kind of better here when it comes to password rotations, and you will need to rotate passwords from time to time. But password generators also have, yeah, can be useful for some cases. But yeah, at the end of the day, do not reuse passwords basically, unless you absolutely do not care about a given resource. Then like, yeah, whatever. Two-factor is a good thing. How has Corona affected security-related jobs? Not as much as other industries. I do not have a large sample. I just like, you know, see what's on Twitter and so on. I know some folks have lost their jobs. I know for some folks the jobs became suddenly harder because like it turned out that they need to de-restrict security or change the security ideas from like everything is in this secure building to suddenly everyone is outside of that secure building, and what do we do now? How do we allow them still to work? So yeah, not a lot of people lost their jobs, but some did. And yeah, so thankfully I think it's quite easy to find a new security job if you have experience in the industry. So fingers crossed that like that those folks will be able to find jobs quickly. Username writes, hey, one of your first web challenges was about new line injection. The goal was to inject a header and get the flag, but one guy managed to read authorized keys. He posted a screenshot of it. No, what he did was he was able to contact the metadata server and get the authorized keys from the metadata server, because the server, okay, and this is something I suspected is possible, but I decided to just ignore it because let's start with the context. The server where I have the challenges is in a cloud provider, right? Well, quite easy to guess which one. And cloud providers usually is like a little bit different than the VPS, typical virtual private server, because you also have other kind of services, and to chat with these services you need to have some kind of authorization. So a virtual machine would have an account and be able to access certain other services. Now this is called a service account basically, and that virtual machine did not have any service accounts, and I thought that's enough, like it doesn't have access to the metadata server at all. It turned out it had access to the metadata server, which is like basically a server running next to the virtual machine, which the virtual machine can query for some configuration information. And it still had access to the metadata server, only to a couple of things, like the public keys, like the usernames of who can log into the machine, and also the exact configuration of a machine, like how many virtual CPUs, how much RAM, and so on. So we did have a chat, a rather long chat with the person about it. I was really grateful that he let me know. I kind of suspected that's possible, but again, I still don't think there was anything sensitive accessible there, like public keys. Yeah, it's not great, but it's public keys. That's like they are okay to be public. It's in the name. It's not great. There is some privacy concerns there, but there was nothing disclosed there that would be problematic. And so yeah, I played with the idea to basically just leave it. Like if somebody finds it, great for them. Then I started querying the metadata server, and there were like a little bit too much information about the about the machine, so I decided, like, nothing critical, but yeah, let's just block it, because maybe I missed something again. So yeah, now it's blocked. Now you cannot access the metadata server anymore, which kind of turned out a little bit tricky, because by definition, you cannot block the metadata server. But yeah, now it's blocked, and it should be fine. Again, nothing super bad happened, and it wasn't a different primitive. It was just basically, I would classify it as a server-side request forgery, which was predicted to exist and not critical and not super important, but just for the sake of it, I banned the IP of the metadata server. Yeah, so that's the story of it. And it's a cool story. I actually like that challenge was pretty cool, because apart from that, when I posted the challenge, I thought it was like super easy, and there would be like one solution plus maybe you can get some stuff from the metadata server. Then another person had a solution which I totally did not predict. It was like in the same line, but it was a little bit different. They bypassed one of the checks in a different way. And then another person had yet another solution, which I also didn't predict that exists. And we also had a long discussion whether is it a bug or like, what is it? And it turned out to be a bug in Python, which is opened and should be patched soon, I hope, maybe, or maybe the decision was not to patch it. No, I think the decision was not to patch it. So it was a weird issue in a library, but it wasn't like, it was borderline bug, basically. I would call it a bug, maybe not a vulnerability. So yeah, that challenge was quite fruitful, I would say, in the amount of things I've learned about it when folks submitted the solutions, basically. It's actually pretty amazing. Like, what you folks find when solving these challenges is absolutely amazing. How Android research is done. There are a lot of situations when you need to be a root for proper Android research. I guess you might want to take a look at research from Mateusz Jurczyk, which he's publishing now. I'm not sure if a blog post already started to appear on the Project Zero blog, but I think he hinted in his recent tweets about the Samsung vulnerabilities he found, about there being some blog posts in the near future, so you might want to take a look there. I honestly do not know, because I did not do any Android research. My guess, and this is how I would approach the problem, would be one is emulators, and another would be maybe you can still root some phones, basically. And if you can root a phone, you can become a root. And it's quite common if you're doing research to not do it on your phone, but instead you just like buy a second-hand phone or like two and play with them. Ideally like one which you can root, right? But again, I'm not an Android researcher. I have absolutely zero idea about it. You would have to, I guess, ask somebody who has some experience there. What's your favorite password manager? KeePass, yeah, KeePass. And do you use any kind of browser integration? No. No, I basically try not to open it too much either. Yeah, I'm a little very worried, I would say, about having all my passwords in a database, even on my system. I somewhat trust my system, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I'm not sure about it. So I know I do not go for any browser integrations. I do have some passwords in my browser stored, like, yeah, for websites, which again, like, if somebody steals the password for my, I don't know, like my shop on my Amazon account, for example, I'm like, yeah, meh, like whatever, I just changed the password. So I'm not too worried about the passwords which I have in the browsers, but there are a set of passwords which I would prefer nobody to have access to. So yeah, I'm not going for browser integration in that case. Yeah, passwords are hard. That's a hard problem. Like, the more you think about it, the more problems there are. Okay, Wojciech, I see on the chat just written my password for my bank account. Perfect. I would appreciate if you would not post it again. So yeah, so let's pretend that you didn't post my bank account password on the chat now. Perfect, thank you. Okay, another question. What do you think about Bruce Schneier's basic ideas like being safe and feeling safe? I don't know. As in, I'm not familiar with the concepts. I would have to read more about the philosophy, I guess, behind it to be able to state an opinion. Wojciech writes, have you tried KeePass XC with U2F as part of KDBX key? What do you think about idea of adding challenge response from a like UB key to key-based key? I like the idea. I have not tried it. I think I need to update my password manager. But I like the idea. The little problem I'm having here is that what if your UB key, like, I don't know, you run over it with a car or something and it dies a horrible death? What do you do then? Do you still have somehow access to it? That's something to figure out, basically. Because if the key is only on the UB key, then that's a little bit problematic without any way to recover the database, and that's something one would have to think about. Because, like, it's quite easy to keep something secure, but to keep something secure and still have access to it in 10 years is a little bit more problematic. And yeah, you can do backups of the database. Where do you store the backups? That's the question. But yeah, like that's a good answer. Like backups, absolutely. But yeah, like backups is also like another. Where do you store the backups? Do you have a safe at home and so on? But anyway, thank you for telling me about it. I think I'm going to update and yeah, and also put a UB key to use there. Okay, ideas for programming other projects to show on junior security research interviews for someone without industry experience. But depends on, okay, I'm going to answer the usual way I answer this. But depends on which security fields you are addressing. Like if you are going for forensics, then that's probably going to be some application which decodes, I don't know, some email database format for some email clients. Like a small tool which just dumps the email from a file, right? If you're going for web security, maybe that's some kind of a cool web security scanner or like something which looks for XSSs. If you are going for low-level security, maybe that would be some simple sandbox, maybe that would be some simple fuzzer. It really depends on which area of security you're going. What do you think about iOS security regarding Zero-Dum CO just previously said? Okay. Sorry. So, okay, basically the context is that I think Zero-Dum basically stopped buying iOS vulnerabilities for some time, as stating that, yeah, like, there are so many submissions we don't really need anymore or something like that. So yeah, like the argument you can draw from that is that iOS isn't really secure. And what do I think about it? I have no opinion about it because I have absolutely no idea about iOS. So yeah, sorry about that. But it's interesting. It's like thinking about like the security industry, that move was super interesting. What is your opinion on offensive security related certificates? Do they really matter? Well, okay, so I'm going to repeat myself as usual about certificates. I do not really care about certificates personally. And from my perspective, you need certificates only for specific companies. For example, if you are going to work for, I don't know, a bank might want certificates. A pen testing company which specializes for doing pen tests for banks or other government institutions might want certificates. And if you're going to work, I don't know, in some consultancy, then probably you might want to have certificates so that your boss can show it to the client. And yeah, if you're working in a typical security research company, then certificates just don't matter. It's not that they are like bad, you shouldn't have them. It's not like they will get you a job immediately, they just don't matter. That's my opinion on them. It's at the end of the day what matters is the skill, like not the certificate and the research which you can show. Like, I don't know, I've researched this high impact target and I found these many vulnerabilities and here's my report, here's how the disclosure went. This is way better than a certificate in my opinion. But again, that's my opinion. If you want to get a certificate because you think like that will allow you to focus on learning this stuff, do it, absolutely. Why not? Like, it doesn't hurt. It just, yeah, might not matter. Okay, let's do 5 more questions and then we skip to PicoCTF. How do you go about doing Rob on the heap after finding a memory corruption bug that allows you to control a function pointer on the heap? Okay, so you need to do a stack pivot. A stack pivot basically. A stack pivot is an operation in which you convince the CPU that the stack is now on the heap. And that's basically like you jump from that function pointer, you put a gadget which changes, like puts in the stack register, the stack pointer register, like ESP or RSP, puts the address of the controlled buffer on the heap, basically. And yeah, and that's one gadget, and then it does return. And because return will now read the address from the heap, because you just pivoted the stack, then yeah, you have your exploit chain on the heap in that case. So stack pivot is a typical answer here. And there are like multiple ways you can do a stack pivot. It's usually tricky, but it's usually doable as well. Do you see a world... sorry, I believe I need to... Do you see a world where we could get rid of passwords altogether and use other authentication way? Just food for thought. I know there are a lot of people thinking about it and a lot of people trying to do something, and I know that they are trying to do that for the last 20 years. And every year I hear that is the end of passwords and we are now going to use something else. And some of the ideas are pretty cool and some of the ideas I really like, but I don't think we are moving away from passwords anytime soon yet. Like, you know, there are like ideas, hey, maybe let's go fully biometric, right? But okay, like somebody steals your fingerprints, what do you do now? Do you change your finger? Well, no, right? So that's the problem with biometric. Like if somebody has a good scan of you, that's it. You cannot rotate passwords in this case yet. Maybe in 200 years, but not yet. Then like maybe let's switch from passwords to images where you have like some really cool image, like, I don't know, like for example, this thing. And then you have to click like 5 different things and that's your password. Like for example, satellite dish, like this light here, this plane here, and this. That's my password, and the next time I'm logging in, I'm going to just click here, 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 here. And there are so many details on the image that the complexity of trying all of the places is like super high. On the other hand, this has actually even more problems than the passwords, because if somebody is shoulder surfing you, they can easily see where you're clicking, right? So yeah, and there are like other ideas and other like smart cards, YubiKeys and so on, but yeah, YubiKeys are pretty cool, but apart from that, I don't believe we are moving away from passwords yet. We just don't have the proper idea to do that yet. Passwords are pretty universal at the end of the day. So we'll see. I'm not actually investigating that area of security, so I just sometimes find some information about it, and that's all of the extent of my knowledge here. But it does not seem that there has been any breakthrough with moving away from passwords. Did you play Defcon Calls 28 last weekend? No, sadly no. I'm basically trying to dedicate all my time to Paged Out right now to get it moving, so no CTFs for me. I can't post links, so that that was idea of YouTube link to Euro's research on Samsung. You probably might want to go to Yuru's Twitter, actually, because he posted everything there. If we go here, just Yuru, that's actually the blog, Twitter/Yuru, with, that's J, 2 zeros, RU, whatever. And yeah, like the pinned tweet, this one, the first one. And there's like a couple of like, check the thread, basically, because there is like a lot of stuff here. And it's really good stuff. I'm going to post a link because I, for some reason, can't post links. Okay, and the last question, we're moving to PicoCTF. If a binary is compiled with a non-executable stack, as I guess all the binaries are now, why can't we modify the binary so that the stack is executable? Because we usually do not control the binary. The binary is running somewhere on the server or is running with a different user's permissions. So while we could copy the binary, usually we could copy the binary and change it, well, that wouldn't give us anything because a non-modified copy of the binary is still running on the user we are trying to attack or on the system we are trying to attack. And yeah, by modifying a copy locally, we do not modify, obviously, the other binary, so that doesn't give us anything. Yeah, what we could do is, when we have code execution, we can map the stack to be executable again, but when we have code execution, we rarely need to do something like that. Sometimes it happens, but it's super rare. Okay. I guess we can... So yeah, by the way, the password with images, that's an old idea. One I mentioned, I think is like, I don't know, like at least 15 years old. That's a guess, do not quote me on that, but I know it's pretty old. Cool. Okay, unsolved. What do we have here? I'm skipping forensics, as mentioned. I will go back to it at the end, like that would be the last stuff. I'm also skipping this 1-point challenge. I was asked about it today. I'm skipping it because I'm afraid of it, because it's a 1-point challenge which does not have too many solves. That's absolutely terrifying, so let's go for a different thing. We have Irish name Repo3, which seems like a really cool web challenge, and we are going to do that one. Okay, let me create a directory. Okay, directory created. There is a secure website running at address. If it's secure, we do not, like, let's just skip this because we cannot hack it, but it's probably not secure. Spoiler alert. Try if you can log in as admin. Okay, let's take a look. List, okay, I think we saw, it's unsolved, right? Yeah, unsolved. We saw similar websites, but not this one. Cool. We have close menu. Which close? Okay, what did I expect? We have support. Why is this site so trash? What? Okay. Let's go back. Then we have admin login, password. We have some passwords here. Then these are actually my passwords. So no, we are going to use this password. And we just broke something. I put one single. Let's maybe open a notepad. Okay, I put a single quote, and it broke the website. What does that signal? Some kind of injection, usually that's SQL injection. That's the first thing you always try, you know that. So, okay, if that breaks, then I'm going to put this plus this and see what happens if this... Okay, it says login fails, no thank you. Can we actually, like... let's go here. Can we tell it not to show all saved passwords? How about no? Can I tell it not to... Okay, I see. I cannot use it. Cool. So this did not break. This broke it. So it seems some kind of an injection. Let's try the most typical injection there, which is this, or 1 equals 1, and then this is a comment in MySQL with a space at the end. For some reason, there needs to be a space at the end. And no, it doesn't like us. Why it doesn't like us? Because there might be a bracket somewhere. Let's try it with a bracket. No, maybe there are two brackets. Let's try it with two brackets. No, okay, I'm not going to try with three brackets. That's almost impossible for it to be, for there to be three brackets. Cool, so we have some kind of an injection. We do not get anything back. The server crashes or it says login failed. So that starts to look like a blind SQL injection. I'm not sure it's an SQL injection yet at all, in all honesty. What else can we do to verify that it's actually, we can do something like this. Let's try it with an OR. I'm going to probe at it a little bit to kind of get a feel of, is it SQL? Maybe it's actually not SQL. Maybe it's like Python injection or like, I don't know, XPath injection for all I know. So let's, yeah, this kinda broke it, which is interesting. I'm going to go with double quotes now. Double quotes is okay, it doesn't break with a double quotes. So it does not like or here. I'm starting to think like what the query might be like. Is it like select password where from like, I don't know, users, where from where, or rather select, I don't know, user, select one, where password is, and this is our injection. And there is no user, right? There is no user, yeah. So maybe it's like this, maybe it actually goes like, where, yeah, I don't know what else it could be, because there is no user. It might be like select everything from users where password is something. It might also be something totally different. Now, I'm going to try, I'm a little bit worried that this comment version did not work. What happens if we just do this and a comment? That's, by the way, a MySQL style comment, so if it's not MySQL, we might... no thanks, how can I tell it to go away? Okay, this says login failed, right? Which is good, because it means it might be actually... I'm not now removed the space, and let's try it again without the space and says login failed. I'm going to remove one of the dashes and see what's happening, and it fails. Okay, so no, that's some kind of SQL. Cool. This is basically comment to the end of a line in SQL, like same like this in JavaScript, Java, C, C++, and some other languages. Cool. So what do we do now if we know we have something like this? That means there are no V's, but OR does not work. So what do we have there that it does not work? That's quite interesting, and I don't have a good idea what might be there. So what we can do is we can try to, we know that plus works, right? So okay, let's see if we can get some kind of a side channel. A side channel in this case might be either time or like some change in the website. And time would be using benchmark, for example, benchmark or delay or sleep. So MySQL benchmark, MySQL sleep or MySQL delay. I never remember which one is sleep, which one is delay. Okay, there's sleep. Let's see if there's sleep. So plus sleep 1 plus and see what happens now. This should, actually let's do it 10. So let's see if the website sleeps for 10 seconds. This is what we want to achieve. No, it actually broke. Okay, that's fine. Let's try some other function that we are kinda sure exists in MySQL. What kind of function might that be? Sorry. To sleep. Okay, I want that benchmark thing. Benchmark function. Benchmark is a function which basically runs another function for a long time, and yeah, for a count time, and there might be some expression. The expression might be like MD5. So MySQL. We do not know that's MySQL, by the way, yet. We know it's probably SQL. We are not sure, but yeah. It's like fuzzy logic, always remember that. We might be like 50% convinced this is this case, 70% convinced this is this case, but always keep all the options on the table unless you rule them out by something which decreases the probability to 0. Perfect. Now, MySQL MD5. Let's just calculate MD5. It's just MD5. Yep, it's just MD5 string. Perfect. So let's do this and change it to MD5 and like let's put here A and see what happens. It crashed. I'm not happy that it crashed. What if we change this to like 41? It crashed. What if we change it to OX41? Because now, yeah, I'm a little bit worried. What's exactly is happening? Is it really SQL? Or is it some other kind of thing? What if we do this? Okay, it crashes, that's good. What if we do this? Again, failed. Okay, that's good also. So yeah, I'm mostly convinced this is an SQL injection, but I'm kinda convinced this is not my SQL injection. Yeah, this is fine. What if I do select here, like in brackets, I do select A. This also crashes. No, I'm not happy about that at all. Let's do OX41 here. Again, I'm just poking at the website. I do not have a plan yet. What if I do select 1? It also crashes. Now this is worrying. What if I do MD5 of A? Yeah, this is worrying. Okay, let's look around the website a little bit more. Let's see what's here. We have, like, this is weird. There is an Irish directory. Is there anything interesting here? No, not found. Okay, then anything else interesting here? Not really. What if we look at the support again? Is there anything clickable here? Anything I can interact with? No. Oh. Okay, yeah, like, yeah, we know this one. Should we actually remember... Oh yeah, let's take a look at the previous challenges. This is the challenge number 3. We did previous challenges as well, and I do have notes from the previous challenges. Let's take a look what we got there. We had something like this. Let's basically see if this if like this works as well, because like we can just take a look. It does not. Okay, so it might be something different now. But I'm going to copy paste this and put it here. And now what I want, the problem is that it failed, right? But that might mean there are not enough fields being returned. So let's do this. No. Let's do this. This, how many fields are returned? I'm not even sure if this is working at all, but that's fine. I do not believe it's going to be more than 8, but I'm going to test it until 8. I know some like really annoying CTFs which have like 11 fields or something, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's just not working. Cool, so yeah, what do we do now? We know this does not work. Let's try something else, something which actually okay, what about version? Like if we do plus and SQL get version, SQL injection, injection cheat sheet version. Here we go. Okay, so there is this like, yeah, there is this version thing. Let's try if this version thing actually exists, so if we can use it. does this, it also breaks it, which I'm not super happy about. Then we might have, there's a MySQL version, or like just version function. Yeah, there's a version function. So let's try the version function now. Because I'm trying to find something which actually works to give me a foothold on the task. No, it does not work either. Then in case that would be SQLite, let's take a look now. SQLite version, maybe this works. So if we here put SQLite version. No, it also crashes. Okay, what can I put here that does not crash it? Can I put a digit? A digit does not crash it. Can I put a digit in brackets? Maybe brackets are actually the problem here. No, the brackets are not a problem here, so this is fine. Can I put... I know I can put a string here, so let's put a string here, that's fine. What if I change one of the pluses to a different operation, like for example to an asterisk, a multiplication? Wait, that's... did I copy it? I have not copied it. That's weird. Alright, that's absolutely weird. Why does it not crash? Yeah, that's weird. What if I put this? Login failed. What if I put a minus? That's weird. Minus. F, okay. What if I put an exclamation mark, which absolutely does not denote any operation? That's fine. Okay, what's going on here? That's absolutely interesting. It should crash on, like, I don't know, let's put something like which is totally weird, which is a $sign. There's no, yeah, $sign crashes, which is good. I would like really be worried if a $sign would not crash. So okay, we know that brackets also don't crash. Is there a function we can call in that case? Maybe that's not an SQL injection at all. What kind of other injections do we have? We have like LDAP injection, we have like XPath injection, but I have absolutely no idea about them. Let's take a look at Wikipedia says. Wikipedia says, okay, so that might be, yeah, it might be an LDAP injection in case something like this is happening. How do we actually know that something like this is? They have like wrong quotes here. Okay. Okay, so how does LDAP? I have no idea how LDAP actually works. How to test for LDAP injection. Oh, that's a, yeah, let's go over. Okay. Okay, logical and okay. Testing for LDAP injection with maybe injecting. Yeah, this is I think what we would like to do. But how? I think I need the basics of how does that actually work. Okay. What happens if we just like put this? I have absolutely no idea about LDAP, so that's an XPath. We'll get there. Oh, perfect. There is some. Yeah, just show me an example so I can. Okay. But yeah, I'm not sure if this is it. So what happens if I would do like close a bracket, then open a bracket and put this and this? Yeah, I'm not absolutely not sure about. No, I don't think that's an LDAP injection at all. XPath injection then? Okay. Let's see if something like this works. This or 1 equals 1. We know this does not work. Or equals, yeah, let's try something like this. And it crashed. It crashed probably... Yeah, why did it crash? It doesn't like OR, right? So if we do this, it actually does not like OR at all. Yeah, it does not like OR at all. But yeah, anyway, no, if we go here, sorry, to the support, they did say something about it being SQL, right? Like SQL error. And I'm not getting an SQL error. Why am I not getting an SQL error and they are getting an SQL error? That's a good question to ask. Because like that might be a hint. So I'm going to actually open this, well, DevTools basically, and I'm going to crash it. And what I'm going to check is what is actually being sent to me. So yeah, it says debug 0. Okay, this is something I believe we also took a look at previously, and I also failed to actually find it. So instead now of doing it in a browser, I'm going to switch to doing it in curl. Okay, so how do we do it in curl? We enter first the proper directory. Yeah, I guess if we would do one challenge after the other, that would be a little bit different. But since I'm focusing on, okay, let's see what kind of, how are we? We are going to send it with post. So yeah, so let's just do curl. What's the site? Site is, where are we sending it? To login.php. So this is the site. And now we are, let's send this thing. Okay, what we need from here is this content type. So that's what X, oh, I always forget. Curl additional header. We need -b, by the way, to be verbose, and a header -h. Okay. Then we have, I thought I could copy it. Content type, and we get, I think actually curl would just append it, but whatever. But PHP needs this. If PHP does not get it, PHP is absolutely unhappy. Okay, and now we need the data. So that's going to be -d, and I'm going to say add ASDF. ASDF is a file which it's supposed to send now. Is it, or is it capital D? Data binary. Yeah, let's do it like this. What happened here? Wait, I need to change the font a little bit because it's data bind. What? Yeah, this terminal. Okay, now why does it actually work? It should complain that there is no file called ASDF. Now I'm confused. Yeah, curl-d file name. Why does it not complain that we do not have a file which is called ASDF? I don't know, let's try something like this then. What were the field names in that case? That was password equal to something, and then debug equal to 1, and let's see what happens. Does it really open that file? I'm confused, like, curl, what are you doing? Are you opening that file? I don't believe it's opening the file at all. Well, if it's not opening the file, we are going to force it to just get the file. Like, yeah. No, because that will return the... not liking me. It usually likes me. Let's just remove it and let's just do form. Do we need exposed? Well, no, we don't. Password equals this. Okay, and we got 500. So this now works, but if we do, yeah, I'm absolutely confused. But if we do this, it does not read the file. Am I missing something? I've done this 100 times and now... -d. Okay, -d. And if you start the data with the letter this, the rest should be a file name to read the data from. Or if you do this, it should read from the... Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. And it's absolutely not even waiting for any stuff. I absolutely don't get Carol. Like, Carol, what are you doing? Is my Carol broken? Yeah, I don't know. My Carol is broken. What if we do echo this and now? Probably making some stupid mistake which I do not realize. Like, for example, I'm not sending something and it's actually... I don't know. Okay, well, let's go back to the browser. Can always do this, like go here and change the value to 1. Okay, and now we do again one single quote, and okay, well, perfect. It actually shows us the query, which is okay. From admin where password, but we kind of suspected this is the query all the time. Oh, but we do not know what kind of SQL this is, so I can close this file. Cool. So you have like it like this, and select, okay, and we inject here, right? So now we check the password, or password is not, and we want it to be not empty. Yeah, and this is what we are going to inject. And it's not working, and I have no idea why it's not working, but again, let's turn the debug mode. Can we turn the debug mode on here? No, probably no, because we need to send it to the PHP. Yeah, let's do one here and do this. Oh, what's, hello. Now, okay. This kind of starts explaining things why it did not work. Because what does it do? It either XORs it or it rotates it. So OR becomes BE. That's ROT 13? That looks like ROT 13, right? You can do ROT 13. That's a nasty surprise. ROT 13. Okay. Yeah, that's ROT 13. Okay, if it's ROT 13, then yeah, like whatever. Let's just do this. And let's just use this and yeah, done. Alright. Okay, that was not expected. Like, the input being ROT 13. Only on CTFs. I would know, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. It's not only on CTFs. It's like you could find it in the real world system as well. Okay, so the only problem with this challenge was that we were doing everything right, but then ROT 13. I'm going to look if there is another challenge from this No, I think that was the last challenge, or at least no other challenges have unlocked. So yeah, thankfully that will be it. Yeah, okay. Well, that's fair. I guess we should have spotted the debug earlier, but yeah, I should have looked at it earlier. What's up with curl? Why curl hates me? Yeah, I don't know. I need to have a chat with curl after the stream. Okay, well, we solved that. Then web exploitation, Scratch Pad. Okay. JWT Scratch Pad. Okay, perfect. So we know we are going to deal with JSON web tokens, I believe. Check the admin Scratch Pad, and there's a link. I guess we can close all the links here. Oh, I know this challenge. I think I discussed this challenge with somebody. Okay, it's an online Scratch Pad where you can jot down whatever you like. I consider it a notebook for your thoughts. Works best in Google Chrome for some reason. You need to log in to access Scratch Pad. You can use any name other than admin, because admin gets special Scratch Pad. Register with your name and like John. Okay, and then we have a link to, we'll be doing some brute forcing, it seems. John the Ripper is, it's a hash cracker, basically. Cool, so let's take a look at, let's do like admin and see like why doesn't it, okay, you are not allowed. And what kind of, what do we see here? Like, what are we looking at? Okay, we send a post request to this website, and on load there's just a focus, so that's not interesting. And we have a link to web tokens. What's a web token? Okay, so JSON web token is basically a way to, it's a protocol, a cryptographic protocol, which is like, I would say a scary name for basically JSON encoded data, which is also signed, like HMAC usually, or it could be actually signed with a private key. Yeah, so you have data, you have like, and then the header, and then you sign it, and at the end of the day you get something like this. And something like this is the header, which is base64 encrypted. Then you have the data, which is a base64 encrypted JSON. This is also JSON, and then at the end of the day you have this HMAC, which somehow could be calculated. Okay, cool. So yeah, so let's see if we have such a thing here on our task as well. Let's do admin again, because the website doesn't like it, so let's do it. When we send it, I don't know, maybe it's in cookies. Let's take application, cookies, no cookies yet. Okay, let's do ASDF. Okay, welcome to Scratchpad. Here's my Scratchpad, and did I get a cookie? Yeah, we got a cookie, and this is a JSON cookie. Let's take a look, what have we actually received? So I'm going to open another notepad. Actually, I'm going to open a Python notepad, notes.py, because why not? And let's play with the string in Python. Let's see what's there. I don't believe I ever played with these tokens. So okay, it's basically like the dots here are the delimiters. So let's separate the string by dots, and we know this is the header. We know this is the data, and we know this is the signature. So this is the signature. Cool. So now we can just decode it, like import base64 and print base64b, 64 decode, header. Okay, then data. And then, yeah, let's go with this. And I do believe I need a console here. So where are we? No, let's go to Python 3 nodes. Okay, yeah, and this is what we have. Yes, my zooming works perfect. Yeah, the header basically says that the algorithm is this, and then we say the user is this, and then the type is JWT, and then we have a signature. So in general, we cannot generate a signature because the signature is generated with a secret in it. And here, like if you look here, right, there is some secret, and we have no idea what the secret is. We also have no idea what the algorithm is, but it was printed here. Oh, so it's like, yeah, it's an HMAC based on the SHA 256 hash with some secret. The secret is on the server. We have no idea what secret it is. Therefore, if we would change any data, then that would break the signature. But actually, I'm going to try it because, hey, maybe they are not checking the signature, right? I mean, you know, like it wouldn't. It's okay. In all honesty, it's a common bug, like that. Yeah, the signature is included, but like nobody checks it. Or maybe nobody cares if the signature is not included at the end. So what we are going to do is we are going to encode a different data. We are basically going to encode, make a JSON which contains user admin, because this is what we are aiming at, right? So we do a JSON which, well, I'm not even going to bother with a JSON. I'm just going to do this and do admin. Well, this is properly formatted JSON. I'm not going to bother with JSON by actually calling an JSON encoder. I'm just going to do this. This is what I meant. And now we do base64 b64 encode, and we are going to encode it. I think it doesn't actually use the, let's see. Yeah, it doesn't use the, oh, there are actually two changes. First of all, in comparison to a normal base64, it does not use these characters, instead it uses these characters. This is typical for JSON tokens, and it also absolutely does not use, like, removes the equal signs from the end of it. Now, if we go to, go to Wikipedia, wiki base64, then we have different variants of base64 listed here, and this is the one of the, yeah, here, like, this variant. We are using, instead of a plus, we are using a minus, and instead of a slash, we are using an underscore. And then the equal signs are optional. So we actually need to write a function which does this for us. So def web enc, then the string. And yeah, we basically do base64 b64 encode, then the data, and then we replace the plus with a minus, and we replace the slash with an underscore, and we replace the equal with silence, with nothing, and we return this. Okay, so this is encode. We now need another function for decoding if we are going to play with it a little bit longer. We just do it the other way around, and we just do it on the string first. So we do replace this way, we do this, and then we cannot replace nothing with this, because we do not know how many V's are missing, right? So what we can do, there are like a couple of ways to do it. One way is to take the length of the string, so k is length of the string, and base64 needs to be, the length of it needs to be divisible by 4. And if it's not, then we need to make it like so, while k is not divisible by 4, is not divisible by 4, we add at the end this, and that's basically it. And should this be a string? I think we need to do this, because we are operating actually on bytes, not on strings. So let's do this. And yeah, you do not need a loop. You can use actual math to do it, but yeah, I'm just lazy, so I'm just going to use a loop. Okay, and then we encode. We decode k, and that's it. So here instead we can use the webdeck, and we can do the signature. The signature is going to be binary, or yeah, it's going to be binary. We can take a look. And here we don't do this, we do instead print, web encoder, like we web encode it to base64, and we call it, and something doesn't work because replace needs bytes, but everything here. Okay, replace, wait, what are you complaining about? Because, wait, this got, no, seriously, what are you complaining about? Line 7, here. Replace argument must be string, not bytes. Why does it have to be string? It doesn't have to be string. Okay, I'm just going to remove it. Let's do this. And let's see if it complains still. It's somewhat. Okay, base 64. So this is fine. Oh no, wait, this is wrong. This is absolutely. So we need to do two things here. First, we do this, otherwise this was an infinite loop as well. Here we do len of s, and then we do, yeah, this is better. K is not defined. Where am I using K? I thought I replaced it. K here, s, obviously. That's a stupid mistake. A bytes object is required, not a string. Where are you complaining about it? We are complaining about it on line 21 here. So that's encoding here. Here, okay, here, yeah, just the bytes of it. And like UTF-8, I honestly don't care what kind of encoding we are going to use. Bytes object is required, why I just gave you a byte object. Here. Oh, sorry, it was an encode. Oops. Okay. Oh, now it wants. Yeah, I think my mistake. I realized my mistake now. But whatever. My mistake was not putting bees. The bees here were fine. Like bees here were supposed to be placed as well. Good. Okay. Finally, we got it out of the way. Yeah, as I mentioned, let's actually make it bigger. Yeah, as I mentioned, this is binary. Like the hash is binary, so that's fine. Okay, so we encoded the admin. This is the admin. So now what I would like to print is, I would like it to print the, we do tag. Okay, I would like it to print the header, which is, we don't change the header. Then we print this thing, which is header, then this thing, and then the same signature. Like, yeah. As I mentioned, maybe the signature is not checked, and this is what we are going to check now. What are you complaining about? String inks and bytes found. Header is a string with web-enc returns bytes. I'm honestly so tempted to switch to Python 2 right now, but no, we must be strong. We should not switch to. Let's just switch everything here to bytes. Yeah, Python 2 was so easy. Encoding a string without a string argument, that's fine. This now. Okay. Perfect, and now we got it. So now I'm going to replace the cookie with this. Here, how do I replace it? I just can edit it, right? Okay, it's replaced. And now let's see what's going to happen if I refresh the website. Internal error, it does not like us. Why does it not like us? Does it not like us because the signature mismatched, or did we actually do something wrong? There's an easy check for that. So I'm going to change this to data, and yeah, let's see if this actually works. Okay, this still works. Now I'm going to do another change. I'm going to grab this and I'm going here to replace the web-eng on this thing and see if that works. Well, if it's the same, it will work, but okay. Perfect. And now I'm going to do a simple change. Just add a space here. This actually should break the signature already, unless the signature is calculated not from the string but from something else. And but that does not break the JSON itself. And now I'm going to replace it again. And internal server. Okay, so that probably means that the signature mismatches, so that's why it throws an error. That's fine. So now what we are going to do, we are not going to include the signature at all. Because maybe if the signature is not there, then meh, like, yeah, nobody cares. Like, how can you compare if the signature is okay if the signature is not there, right? Yeah, easy. So let's just try it without the signature. I guess it likes its signature. Okay, so now the other thing we can do is, so here there's an algorithm, right? So JWT Wikipedia, let's go here. And this alg thingy, there is a different algorithm, which is not supposed to be implemented ever. And it's called None, which is only for testing, I believe. But sometimes libraries forget about it. Yeah, blah, 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 secret key, blah, blah, blah. I think it's known. Yeah, known. Okay, it's known. Yeah, like this. So we are going to put the algorithm as known and see what happens. So here we weapon code, we include the signature again, but we change this to known, to none. Yeah, not known, but none. And let's see if maybe it bypasses the whole check right now, because like, if it says there is no signature, why would you check a signature, right? And no, I think the server probably wants there to be a signature. Maybe I should not include the signature in this case though. Okay. Let's set it. Okay. No. So that does not work. What we can do now in that case is, well, so here's a problem. We basically need the key in this case, because we tried different things and nothing works, so we basically need the key to be able to generate the signature. How do we do it? Well, we obviously have one proper signature already, so we can brute force this. And they suggested that in the task anyway, right? How did you not copy it? What's going on? Oh, now it works. Okay, so we have one good signature for ASDF. That means we can brute force it and find the key. So they mentioned that John the Ripper actually can, can brute force it. What's this? Go away. John the Ripper JWT token. Okay, so I see there's a suggestion that there must be a dot at the end in case we are checking for known. So this is known, and we just need to add a dot at the end. So this is going to be like this. Let's test it, because why not? Yeah. No, still error. So yeah, that's fine. Okay, how do we use John to crack JWT signature? To parse and check the signature. Okay, I see they are. The recent version of John, the one from GitHub. Okay, this is the community one, which is, yeah, okay, as the release, or the releases, release. The release is from Monkuda Jumbo, from May. That's a year old. How old is this entry? Oh, that's fine. How old is the one I have on my disk? That's a good question. Then John. Oh, I do not have John. How did that happen? Probably have like hashcat or something. I have hashcat. Can hashcat actually? Hashcat JWT. Using hashcat, or maybe it actually works. Yeah, this is the part of a stream where I would probably be implementing the brute force faster than actually learning how to use hashcat. How old is my hashcat? My hashcat is from 2018. How old is this? 19. So I probably need a new hashcat. Okay, which tool I'm going to use? Let's download this one. They suggested to use John the Ripper, so let's just use John the Ripper. Let's get this one, source code. Are there any builds? I do not want source code. Or do I have to just build it myself? How to install? I seriously would prefer not to build it. But okay, let's just download it and build it. Okay, clone. Is there an example for that? Oh, perfect. When did we add it? Support added 2000. Hey, so actually my version should work. That's nice. So I do not have to. I have hashcat. That's why I'm happy about not having to. I think I need to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, that's a little bit too big, but let's just go with it. Okay, and let's put the hash in hash.txt. Now, what's the hash? What do they consider to be a hash in this case? This thing. Do they put the whole thing, or do they put just the two parts? I'm going to assume they do not put the. No, they need to put the signature. Like, obviously, they need to put the signature. Otherwise, what would we crack against? So let's put this in hash.txt. Then we. Okay. Then they do just hashcat-m16. I have no idea what's this. Hash.txt a3w3. I have no idea what's this. I'm probably going to hashcat 3264. Okay. Does it work at all? That's my question. GeForce. Okay. Something maybe starts working. Temperature about. Okay. So something is working. Okay. Status. Okay, no, so that's cool. It's actually running, so that's a good thing. Let's quit, because now I need to figure out how to use a dictionary with hashcat. Hashcat dictionary. Yeah, you can see how frequently I use like these tools. None at all. Okay. Dictionary. Reads from a text file. Okay, how do I tell it? I have dictionaries, so how do I tell it that it's supposed to use a dictionary? Okay, then A0, and then, okay, what's dash O? Dash O. Cracking speed. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's do that. We are going for, we do not care about this, we go for A0. Then it says W, no, that's fine. And then it goes for the name of there's an example dictionary here, let's try this one. And dash O, because why not? Okay, let's see. Did I put it in the correct order? Yeah, I think I did. Okay, and... Okay, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Status exhausted. Does that mean, yeah, candidates 0 to ZZZ. Okay, let's use it with a proper cracking dictionary now. Where do I have a proper cracking dictionary? CT. Oh, I have it on my SSD. How nice. Okay, cool. So let's do this here, and now FCTF crypto, and now let's try. I have, wow, what's a label? Okay, let's go with words English first. That's a small dictionary, it should be fast. Then I have some like 16 GB dictionaries, which might be an overkill. Okay, exhausted. Does exhausted means it did not find it? I'm guessing it means it has not found it. There's a log. What does the log say? No, that's actually a good question, because I already failed that once in my life, so I'd like to now figure out. Does it? Okay, so it should actually print something like this out, and I think I was running like one cracking, and like cracking stopped, and I thought it didn't find anything, but then it turned out that I need to do like some weird option to actually print out the password. So where's the good log I was looking at? Maybe I closed it. That's not good. Okay, but if anything would be found, it would be displayed here. This is how I understand it. Let's try. They are suggesting like John the Ripper, right? So I have actually John dictionaries. So let's use John and what is this? Oh, so like John's password LST. Okay, that sounds good. No, okay, I'm going for the 16 GB one in that case. It's undefined 60. Yeah, it's a bit funny, right? Like, I have absolutely no idea how to use Hashcat or how to use John the Ripper. I could easily write a tool like that. Yeah, but that's always my weakness. Like, I know how stuff works in Def, and I could implement stuff like at any point in time. But if you give me a tool, like a tool which every pen tester is using, I'm like, okay, like what is this? Where's the manual? How do I use it? Yeah, it's like when you're into security research rather than actual pen testing. It's actually going super fast. You do not see the percentage fully, but let me put it like this. That's actually percentage. Are there any questions? Like, let's allow it to go to the end, and the questions, okay, should appear there. Check what kind of data passes through request may be encoded. Okay, yeah, so that's related to the last one. Hidden flag debug, yeah, we did find that out eventually. Is it possible to write a function that takes a float and returns the next closest possible value? Yeah, absolutely, that's actually quite easy. If you get a float and you decode the bit fields, then it's super easy to write such a function. Furthermore, most languages, including C, I believe, and C++, have a function which already does that for you. So let's look for C next float value. Yeah, that was a hack. Yeah, next after in C++ reference. Yeah, which next representable value. So this is it. Did I press something? Status. Okay, where did my... Okay, maybe it was... No, no, I think it's running now. Did it output anything yet interesting? Nothing interesting? No. Okay, let's run. Cool. Do we have to press S? Yeah, 17%, that's fine. And yeah, like as soon as you look at the bit fields, it's super trivial to figure out which bit field do you have to increment. How important are data structures and algorithm for offensive security pen testing? I've heard that Google values this kind of knowledge for most technical professions. That's not true fully. If you do a programming interview at Google, you will get a lot of algorithmical questions. That's true. For security, you get security questions because that's what the job requires. Now, I would say you do not need to be a specialist in algorithms. You need some basic knowledge. Like some basic knowledge meaning like you do not have to win competitions in algorithms, but it would be good if you'd be able to solve like a couple of challenges on a competition anyway. Yeah, so like basic graph algorithms, basic data structures, know how like what's big O notation, how to calculate it, and like some other stuff. This is not super important because you rarely use it. There are some cases where you use it. We cracked it, by the way, but yeah, it's not super important at the end of the day in security. You need to know the basics anyway. Blah blah blah, and I love Pico. How was I love Pico on the word list? Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we know that yeah, I love Pico is this, which means we just go to JWT website here. We change the payload to user admin. We tell it that this is our secret, and yeah, and we do this. And we copy it. Now we put it in the here, and we refresh the page. And hello admin, and we get the flag. That's it. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So I guess this task was mostly about trying different things with JWT, then learning how to use hashcat to crack a token, and yeah, once we got it, then okay, can we quit? Yeah, it's perfect. Then that's it. Yeah. Cool. Okay. I'm going to go back to tasks now, and we'll get to questions later on. Can we take a look like how long has it taken fully? I'm not sure which one is. Maybe this one is proper one. Time started. Yeah, like in 59% of it, but it took longer than 1 minute. It's like because it was I think, processing the dictionary at the beginning. Okay, and yeah, status correct. That's perfect. Status running, status correct. Yeah, so this is like, it says it took 2 minutes, we know it took longer. Just reading 16 gigabytes, even of an SSD, takes some time, and then it needs to be processed by the application. Okay, it's actually super fast from an SSD, but still. Perfect, next task, but actually before we get to the next task, I'm going to close this window, this window, this window. And yeah, I think that's actually it. Cool. JavaScript KDE. The image link appears broken. And that's web exploitation. Hey, the number actually decreases. That's amazing. Okay, what am I looking at? jQuery, perfect. I like jQuery actually. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I do like jQuery. Cool. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, I know. I think I saw an article in PageTout about this one. And I think I also looked at this challenge with somebody some time ago. Anyway, I do not remember anything, so that doesn't matter. So it calls bytes and it gets the bytes. Okay, I want bytes. Give me bytes. Bytes. Perfect. Thank you for the bytes. I need to create a new directory for this challenge. What's it called? Like JavaScript KDE? Bytes, and in the bytes file, I'm just going to copy paste it. Well, these do look like bytes, okay, that's fine. Anything obvious here in the pattern? No, they're like all over the place. They look somewhat random, I would say. Cool, so we get the bytes, we then split them, we split them by space, we change them to a number, and we create an array from that, so we have an array of bytes. Okay, that's fine. Then we have a function which is called assemble PNG. Where is this function called? This function is called here. On submit, it grabs the element user in, well, I guess that's user input. It gets this, whatever we write there, the value, and it passes it as an argument to the assemble PNG function. And we have the assemble PNG function here, and it says length is 16, the key is something. Then we have a shifter, okay, whatever that is. Then I guess that's user input. Yeah, if it's 16, then the key is equal to this. So we provide a 16 digits, letters, characters, I don't know. Yeah, but it has to be 16. Otherwise, it just uses this. And then for length, for 16, it, like from 0 to 16, from 0 to 15, obviously. The shifter is the key character code at I, so the ith character, minus 48. So that's a digit. 48 is, yeah, 48 is 0x30, and the easiest way to convert like 0 to 9, which have character codes 30 to 39, to a value, like from character to a value, is just like subtract 30 from them. So if you subtract 30, you get 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So from a character code, you get a digit value. So this is what we are doing here. Like, yeah, it might sound confusing, but I guess if you're programming for a longer time, it's like trivial. It's something you know. Okay, then from J, bytes by length. So that's like, it's dividing the input into blocks. And it grabs the, okay, so from each block, it grabs the ith, this is like unoptimal, like this makes the cache, the CPU cache be, yeah, okay. It should be like the loops should be the other way around, anyway. Okay, so from each block, it grabs the I byte from 0 to 16 byte blocks, and in the result. And the source is By the way, the arrays in JavaScript are sparse, something I didn't know. Sparse meaning that you can like have an array index 0 and array index 5, and there will be nothing in between, like no undefined, nothing. So yeah, so this is why this is fine in JavaScript after all. So never mind, this is fine, because it's JavaScript. Okay, and it grabs from the bytes j plus shifter times length by length. Okay, so plus I. So I guess it just grabs like some byte from this. And at the end of the day, what does it do? So it's some kind of like shuffling, basically. That's just shuffling. This is what's going on here. And after shuffling, or rather deshuffling, it result is 0. Okay, it removes zeros from the end. And then it puts data image base64. B2A is actually like base64 encoding. I have no idea why base64 encoding has B2A name. I had no idea at all. And then it applies actually just calls with null, like from character code this of result. Okay, so this is basically, yeah, it grabs the bytes which are here and it puts them in base64 and it displays them as a PNG image. But yeah, so okay, I guess what we have to do here is somewhat obvious. The flag will be displayed as an image. For the flag to be displayed as an image, it has to be a correct PNG. So the result should be a PNG image, basically. And yeah, like you can ignore the base64, that doesn't matter. It's just like the property of a data protocol. So what we need to do is we need to guess or brute force a key such that it will give us a proper PNG at the end of the day. And what we have to do here is brute force it. But okay, brute forcing what, 16 characters, 16 digits is not something we want to do. That's a large number. That's what, like millions of billions, something like that, something in that range. So we do not want to do it. We need to take a look a bit longer on what exactly is going on here. Maybe there is like a clever way to get the PNG back. We know the bytes are not, they are just shuffled. Yeah, so these are like, this is a, like if we go here. This is a correct PNG file, but if the bytes are shuffled around. How are they shuffled? We get the shifter, which is the key. We get J. J is from 0 to the number of blocks, basically, times blocks. So, okay, from a different block, we get, okay, so only the shifter basically is a block selector. Which is cool. Which is absolutely trivial to crack in that case. Why? Because this is what we need to do here is we need to do basically a partial known plaintext attack. A partial known plaintext means that we know part of what is encrypted, and what is encrypted is a PNG file. A PNG file, if we go to Wikipedia or like wherever, like this one is German. German's fine. Let's go for German. Yeah, this is what we are looking for. This is the header of a PNG file. And that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters. So the 8 first characters of a PNG file are always the same. Which means we already know we'll be able to basically get 8 first characters of a PNG file, but that's not fully true. That's not the full story. After that, there needs to be, I'm looking for, sorry, okay. Sorry, I'm looking for a PNG file which is safe to show you. Oh, that's fine. We can work with this one. Here we go. This is a PNG file actually. So from with a preview of VirusTotal icon. I don't know if you know, but I made the VirusTotal Windows application, the first one initial, not the modern one. That was ages ago. That was like literally, what, 11 years ago? Anyway, so yeah, What we can see here is that after the header ends, where does it end? Here. This is the header, this is the 8 known bytes, right, of the header, of the PNG magic, actually, bytes. Then we have the length of a block, and the block is called iHeader, and this, according to the PNG standard, or the specification, if you read it, is the first header that has to be in the file. So we know that the first header in the file has to be this header. This is the length of the block. So the length of the block, the length of the image header is 13. Like this D here is 13, right? Then we have the block identifier, which would be iHeader in this case. I think it's called chunk, not a block, but a chunk in PNG. And it also has to be here because it has to be the first one. So, and it's always the same size. So the first 16 bytes are always the same. I'm a little bit worried that we have an A here, we have an A here. So that kinda might complicate things a bit. And there will be zeros here. Apart from that, I think we are fine. Okay, it should be fine. So yeah, we should be able to quite easily select such a block that it actually puts like this 89 byte at the first position. Yeah, so what do we need to do? We need to basically implement this. I'm going to implement it in a sane language. I'm going to call it brute.py. Okay, now the known plain text, so known plain text, is going to be a byte array of B, and now we put the stuff we found here, which is, actually we should look at this again. Okay, let us fail. Here we go. Okay, so that's x89, x50, that's PNG, just PNG. Then we have rn, then x. By the way, there is a reason this is constructed like this, that there's a new line here, a Windows style new line here, then there's a Linux style new line here, because if the header is broken with, like, for example, the OD is missing, that means that the file has been actually destroyed by a conversion of end of lines from Windows format to Linux format. If another D would appear here, the same would happen the other way around. And you know what's wrong, what happened, thanks to how the header is constructed, what kind of error was there. This is this, then 3 zeros, then we get the OXD, XOD, yeah, then IHDR. This is our known plaintext, which we are going to be brute forcing against. Then we have the bytes. We need to load the bytes. So B is open bytes, read binary, read, and I want to convert it into a byte array immediately. Okay, so yeah. So these are the bytes. Now we need to implement the function in Python. So this is the decode function basically. But oh, I guess they that's a pretty nice thing they did. Okay, well, we know the length is going to be 16. We can also use it. For I in range 16, for J in range length of bytes by 16. But no, we are not going there. What we need to do basically as the first step is we need to, so the desired byte which we are looking for, so like a good byte, which we are looking for is going to be the known plain text of I. This is the byte we will be looking for in each block. And actually we are going, I'm not going to say each block because we are going to only focus on the very first block, very first 16 bytes. So for key in range, well, 0 to 10, right? Like, but these are all the options. I want to do this thing. here, I'm going to actually wrap it. I'm going to do like candidate byte is equal to, and I need this, and this is not called bytes, this is called b in my code. Then the shifter in my case is called key. The j is 0, so that's just the key. So that's the key times length. 0 because, why 0? Because I'm focusing only on the first block. Yeah, so 0 is here, so I have only 0 plus I. So that's why, yeah, so I have I here after focusing on the first block, and then this also like simplifies to this expression. And yeah, what is happening here at the end, which I need to convert to length of b, is that in case it overlaps, it goes back. And then plus I. So I know that it will be one of the first 10 blocks anyway, right? Because the key can only be, the shifter can be only from 0 to 9. And then we have I, which is fine. Okay. So if the candidate byte is equal to a good byte, then we have a key candidate for this position. So the way I'm going to do it now is chow keys is, I'll do it like this. Like, don't tell anyone I did this. Okay, perfect. So these are potential keys, and on each position there might be multiple good candidates because like it's nothing is easy. In this case, we are going to, in potential keys of I, are going to append the key there, and this is going to be the key. And I think that's actually it. We can print the keys at the end, and we can run it. Okay, I'm going to run it on Windows because it's going to be a little bit faster. Python root, and it says it's why do you dislike it? Okay, let's see if it actually works. So I'm going to print I here, I and good byte. Maybe I'm doing some stupid mistake. I and good byte, okay, that's fine, and do and is nothing. Okay, and here do print the candidate byte and is space, and here at the end just do. Okay, so these are all the potential candidates, which the question would be actually like. Okay, now I would like this to be appended here as well. No, actually no. So we know we need 137 at the beginning, but we have only these options. We know we need 80 at the, but we have only these options. Okay, what's going on? I know. This is okay. This is simple because we are reading the bytes. I forgot to convert the bytes. So this is trivial to do. So we are reading it as a series of numbers. Now we need to split the numbers by space, and we now need to do int on x for x in this. Okay, and now it's fine. Yeah, and now we get the potential keys, not a lot of them. Which is fine with me. So now, yeah, how many keys will we have? We have 6 keys. That's fine. 6 keys we can test by hand. We don't even need a script for that. We just need to like generate the keys. So, how do we? Print key. Okay. Okay, and now we need if k is 16, then just print me s, return, otherwise for k, and I'm sorry for my names. In potential keys of k, I want to call print key. This is like typical recursive printing. I'm pretty sure there's a flatten function in Python which does the same, but s plus str of the potential key plus, okay, I'm calling this as a function, so that's fine, and k plus 1, okay, that's fine. And I need to call it, obviously, print key, yeah. Okay, and these are all the potential, okay, I do not like what's happening here. I do not like what's happening here because we have 4 twice, but maybe, no, this will not work. We have a bug somewhere, but I'm going to test it anyway, but we have a bug somewhere. These should be unique, like there should be no, they cannot be unique. They cannot be unique because there are 16. Should this be hexadecimal? Did I miss something? Length is 16, but here we do... Oh, maybe they do this, but maybe they allow hexadecimal as well. Well, I'm going to test these, and if this doesn't work, I'm going to assume hexadecimal is actually allowed, and I'm going to make the key up to 16 in that case. So let's go here, let's check. Nope. Oh, okay, right. What are you doing that you are? Okay. I would gladly like just run it on my local host, but whatever. Alright, let's check this one. Alright, this absolutely is not a PNG. This one. Yeah, I don't believe this is going to work because really the digits should be unique. Okay, I take that back. How did that happen? Okay. Yeah, QR code reader. I'm just not going to even send it, I'm just going to type it. PicoCTF 9E627A85 1B 332D 5743 5B6C32 D732D4AF. Okay, here we go. And that's it, solved. Okay, I did not expect that to work. I honestly did not expect that to work. It has to be some... Well, okay, no, but... Okay, after thinking about it, it makes sense, because I was having a little bit different algorithm in my head. No, okay, it makes sense. Well, great. It worked. Yeah, that's it. Cool. So, are there any questions? And if there are no questions, we are going to call it a day. But, yeah, we still have, 19 challenges, so yeah, some other challenge also opened right now. I guess there's there's still a couple of challenges. Cool. So, let's take a look at the questions in that case. I'm going to show the questions here. If you have any question, you can just write !Q and then the question. Okay. So, in SQL, there is no way where column string or string would work. We need to put... yeah, that's true. That's something I forgot about. I guess I'm not working with SQL too frequently nowadays. But so that would not work. However, doing or 1 = 1 would work. that would work. HugoFan7 writes, by the way, Chrome has a nice feature where you can right-click on the request and copy it as a curl command. Yeah, I know, but it includes all the fields and it's like super long, so I don't like it. But yeah, I know. I think I even showed it about like on the previous live stream. Piotr writes in Polish. There's a Polish live stream tomorrow, by the way. What about the Hot 16 challenge? So, okay, the context is that in Poland there is basically a rap challenge going around with basically fundraising for charity related to the virus and everything, and it somehow reached me. And yeah, I started even looking at it and thinking if I can write like 16 verses of rap and then rap it. But I'm like so out of time right now, I do not believe I have time to do it currently, and maybe next week, though the challenge kind of says you have to do it in 72 hours, I think I'm going to just fail it. But we'll see, maybe I'll just publish something next week anyway. Yeah, me rapping, that's going to be absolutely terrible. I'm also wondering like what is going to be the cringe level, and maybe I just like record something, say yeah, like this exceeds my cringe level and not publish anything. We'll see. Okay, I think Google Chrome can automatically convert requests to curl. Yeah, I know. We already addressed that a second ago. Seems like this challenge would be really hard without the bug. I'm guessing we would have to... yeah, in case there would be... That's a good point, Monkey. In case there would be no... Oh wait, you cannot see this question. Here we go. Sorry, in case it would be on a real CTF and there would be no debug, then the challenge would probably remain unsolved, and a lot of complaints would be about it being a guessing challenge, and such challenges basically on a real CTF would not happen. The debug option basically saves it. So with the debug option, everything is fine. Yeah, otherwise it would be like too guessy. Encode, decode, UTF-8. Yeah, I guess I could do that. That was related to bytes. In Python 3 there are a couple of ways to do it. Why are you using Python 3? Why are you doing this to yourself? Yeah, well, since Python 2 is dead-ish, then yeah, then Python 3, even for CTFs. Use RawQ. I do not have RawQ on my disk. I have a Cracking Station one, which they're like somewhat similar. Have you encountered CFI protection binaries and bypassed it? For some reason, I did not play with CFI at all. That's control flow integrity. I read the papers, but I never exploited anything with it. That's something I have to do still. Maybe like that's a topic for a stream. Can we use GPU in other security activities like fuzzing? That's a good question. Maybe. Okay, why maybe? Because like the way, like basically GPUs are like FPGAs in the sense that they are good at okay, FPGAs is a different animal, but okay, they're basically good at small contained tasks. By that I mean, for example, MD5 function, right? That's like a couple of mathematical operations, couple of bit shifts, couple of XORs, and like not a lot of code at the end of the day, and you run it in a loop multiple times. That's a simple operation. That's true also for like SHA-256 and some other hashing functions usually. So that's super easy to implement, like hash cracking on the GPU, because it's a contained function. It doesn't need to hold any state apart from like 4 registers usually. Like that's super simple, not a lot. And there's one input data, and the output is the state of that 4 registers at the end. That's how hashing functions work. So that's super easy. Now, in fuzzing, to use fuzzing on a GPU, you would need to basically emulate whatever you are fuzzing, whatever architecture, CPU architecture you are fuzzing. And CPUs have a lot of state. You need like operating system, or like even if you'd only emulate the userland of an architecture, not the whole operating system, only the userland, only one application, then the application has a memory, and the memory might be pretty large. And like the GPU, what GPU says, like, I don't know, 32 gigs of VRAM right now. But if one application is like, I don't know, like 100 megs, that's already quite a lot. So that's one thing. Then you have to write quite a lot of code to emulate each and every instruction. You can somehow bypass it by actually transpiling or like compiling the machine code of that application into an easier machine code, which has way more instructions, but which is actually quite easy to implement an emulator for. So that kind of would decrease the amount of code you have to have. And then there might be stuff like threads, but it also, the application does not live in a void. It actually interacts with an operating system. So you might have to either massage the application code to only process the data, do not talk to the system at all. And instead of like memory allocation, oh, here have a dirty alloc function or something. So you'd have to do a lot of work on the application so that it's as simple as possible, and then have the emulator, and then you could run it and you could fuzz it. But due to the memory constraints and the amount of code, you couldn't run it on as many threads at the same time on the GPU as you would like to, as you can do with password cracking, like hash cracking actually. So yeah, it's doable. It's a super fun project, I think, and I totally recommend doing it, but you will have to deal with a lot of problems on the way. But it's, yeah, I would actually look for like, are there any projects like that already? But it's a hard thing to do, and at the end of the day, it might be cheaper to just buy 1000 servers and like run fuzzing on there. Yeah, it's like everything depends, like, can you pay, do you want to pay in time, do you want to pay in like engineering time as in writing the code time, do you prefer maybe to just throw the money at the problem? But yeah, like speaking as a security researcher, that would be a super cool project. I do expect some issues there on the way. What do you think about Iranian CTF team? Which one? I think there were like multiple of them. There were like multiple CTFs prepared by Iranian teams as well in the past. Some really cool. So yeah, like cool teams. What challenges have you solved at the Defcon calls? I didn't play it. I didn't have time to play it, sadly. How to get started with forensics? As a beginner, it feels like you need to know everything about everything. I have no idea. Like, in all honesty, I never did too much forensics. Just a bit. Like, I was on one training, I did some CTF challenges, and I know some stuff from, because it's somewhat related to other stuff I do, but that's about my extent of forensics. I think it would be best if you'd ask a forensics expert about that, like IT forensics expert, right? Because yeah, again, I just have no idea. Like, I don't know what to tell you, how to start with forensics. Yeah. How can I understand properly what you just did? Solve the task yourself. That's probably the only answer possible, because once you start solving it yourself, you start thinking like what you are actually doing, and you can use write-ups, like help yourself with write-ups. If you are stuck, help yourself with like my live stream. But at the end of the day, try to solve it yourself. Like, write the script yourself, and yeah, like reason yourself and so on. And that's the best idea, I think, there. How can we know we are learning something and moving forward? And also, in what order we should learn topics if we want to be a good reverse engineer? Okay, so in what order? Okay, that's my personal opinion. I don't think order matters that much. As long as you are moving forward, then order matters little. How do we know we are moving forward at all, well, if you are doing something, you are moving forward. That's about it. Yeah, I mean, there's no much to it. There is one exception here. If you get stuck in your comfort zone, meaning you are repeating stuff you already know, and you are not learning anything new, then that means you kind of stopped. You are still getting like faster at it, way faster. So that's still good, that's still moving forward, but it's like moving forward this direction where you might want to be moving this direction, right? So yeah, that apart from that, if you're doing something, you're learning and you're moving forward. Yeah. Yeah, like for the most important thing in reverse engineering is you have to spend time reverse engineering stuff. And while reverse engineering, you learn other stuff as well. And once you're comfortable with something, you just move out of your comfort zone and learn the new thing, the next thing. Albert writes, are you always so quick in thinking processing, even in other areas, seems to be exhausting? Okay, let me put it like this. I believe that on the live stream, I am super slow. I'm not trying to brag. It's like, on the real CTF one, I do not have to explain what I'm doing. It's a bit faster usually. That's why I always have this like, well, I'm so slow on the live stream. Anyway, yeah, difference in perspective, I guess. Seems to be exhausting. No, not really. And I think it's like, it's a matter of experience. That's what I'm going for. It's like, I've been doing this stuff a long time, folks. So if you are doing like, I don't know, CTFs for a year, and like you're in security for a year, for example, like a couple of months or like 2 years, and you say that, yeah, like what you saw me doing, it would take you like, I don't know, like twice as long, for example, that's normal. That's okay. Like, it's what I said, right? Like, but in reverse engineering, if you repeat doing the same thing, you will get faster at it. And yeah, I've been doing programming for 30 years, security for like 16 years at least, maybe a little longer. So yeah, it's just experience. And with experience, you will get faster. So that's fine. Don't worry about it. Quite the opposite, actually. Do not be afraid to spend time doing something. Like if you think, oh, but that will take like 5 hours, so maybe that's a long time, I shouldn't do it. Or maybe I'm already doing it for 10 hours, that's such a long time, maybe I shouldn't be doing it. No, that's absolute bullshit. Do not be afraid to spend time. 5 hours is nothing, 10 hours is nothing. If you spend like 2 weeks on something, that's still fine. It's okay. Do not be afraid to spend time doing something you like. How do I get the most, sorry, I need to click accept. How do I get the most learning experience out of internships? Do you have any tips on what to focus on? I have no idea actually, but that greatly depends on the internship you are and the host and the project. So yeah, try your best. This is the only thing I can say. It's a pretty generic answer to a generic question. I realize that, but I do not have anything better to say there. Sorry, best of luck. I think this question was already there. Can we use Amazon's GPU along with Hashcat to crack passwords? I think, yeah. Are there any top Israeli teams, like Paston, for example? Paston is like one of the top teams in the world. They're absolutely amazing, and they're not the only Israeli team. Yeah, Israel has like really good CTF teams. And the last question. Is there any situation in C where Malloc is preferred over Calloc? I was wondering this after getting an... Okay. So what's the difference between Calloc and Malloc? Well, first of all is the prototype, but the prototype is like, it's exchangeable. What Calloc does is Calloc zeros the memory it allocates. So it allocates memory and then it zeros it. Malloc does not zero the memory. So Malloc allows for use after 3. Calloc does not allow for use after 3 because it zeros the memory. well, kind of, that was not fully true, but yeah, it like makes it harder by zeroing the memory. Now, is there a reason to use Malloc instead of Calloc? No. Basically, no. Like, from my perspective, Malloc would be greater if it would allocate also the memory. And Calloc is awesome because in Calloc you put a size of an element and the count of the number of these elements. So like for an array, it says like you want to allocate like a number of integers to form an array in memory, right? So in Malloc, you do like the number times the size of an integer. In Calloc, you put in one field the size of an integer, in the other field you put the number. And Calloc is supposed to do, it doesn't always do it, but is supposed to do safe arithmetics on that, so that there would be no overflow, no integer overflow. So it's even better than Malloc in that regard. Not all implementations do it actually. So yeah, that being said, Malloc is preferred from a programming perspective, or actually from a performance perspective, because you do not always need to zero out memory, which you are going to initialize in a second anyway, so that's just waste of CPU cycles. Maybe instead of using Calloc, you can just use Malloc for something which is allocated frequently, and that saves you some amount of CPU time. That might be, depending on the application, that might be not a lot, or it might be a lot. So yeah, from a security perspective, use Calloc always. From a performance business perspective, you might want to use Malloc sometimes after all. But it's an excellent question, by the way. Okay. What criteria do you think one must fulfill to be a good reverse engineer? I don't know. Like, if you feel that you, like, anything which would be thrown at you, you can reverse engineer in finite time, then I would say, and you can actually do it, then I would say you're a good reverse engineer, yeah. Now, a great reverse engineer also do it faster and also didn't have problems with bypassing some protections, but yeah, if like you are not afraid of reverse engineering anymore, you are already approaching the level of a good reverse engineer. That's my take on it. Like, yeah, that's a philosophical question, I would say, so opinions may vary here. The Shin writes in, so actually going back to that, there's also like a certain level of knowledge of assembly you need to have, and operating system and other stuff, so that if somebody like shows you a piece of paper with assembly code in the architecture which you are working on, you should not have any problems to read it and reverse it on a piece of paper without looking for manuals, unless it contains like super weird instructions, super exotic instructions, but otherwise you should, yeah. A good reverse engineer should be able to actually just take a look at the code and say, yeah, this does this, like, so together it forms like a function which does this, for example. The Shin writes, in what point should I stop trying to do it by myself and search on the internet for answers? It's like this. Depending on what you are doing and what's your goal. If, for example, I'm programming and I want to, I don't know, in JavaScript, I want to check if something is an array, right? There are two ways. I can either try to figure it out myself, or I can check it and then use it in whatever I'm coding. So it depends on my goal. Am I trying to learn here, or am I trying to create something? And in like the second case, I would just immediately go for the internet. If you're asking in like, if you're trying to actually learn and you're stuck, then the more beginner you are, the more like just starting you are, the faster you can reach to some write-up. Because without having some tricks like in your head, you will just get stuck immediately. So don't be afraid to like look for a write-up and go with the write-up and solve it together with the write-up immediately, like starting even with that. And then the more advanced you become, the longer should be the time before you actually say, yeah, I have no idea, I need to start Googling. But that's only for like this specific case, right? Like this specific case as in this specific, like I'm doing a CTF task, so I'm Googling for a write-up to that specific task. If you're doing a CTF and you just don't know, like, for example, oh, I do not remember what the JPEG header is, JPEG doesn't have a header, by the way, then it's fine for you to Google it immediately because that's not the solution, that's something, just a piece of knowledge you need to get. So it depends, but yeah, the more advanced you are, in case of learning, the longer the time should be. Yeah, in case you're just doing something, maybe it's better to just immediately grab the answer and just continue doing it, depending on what the goal is. I guess I repeated myself a couple of times there, but yeah, was my take on it. Again, like somebody else might have a different opinion on it. What do you recommend doing when you get stuck during a CTF? This is a common question. So you'll get a common answer. I guess I need to put this in some FAQ somewhere. Okay, first of all, you restart the challenge from the beginning. Just create a new directory for the challenge, download the files again, and start thinking about the challenge again. Like from the start. Maybe you missed something obvious and yeah. So the idea here is to clear your head of all the ideas, all the knowledge you already had, and start from the beginning, gaining the knowledge again. Try not to use what you already knew, but instead try to check it again, because maybe you missed something. Yeah, so that's one way. The other way is to basically write it down, like in a form that you are writing down everything about the challenge which you know and what you have tried, and what are probable solutions which you cannot reach or you suspect they might be valid, as if you would be passing the challenge to another teammate to solve later on. Commonly, during writing this down, you will get some ideas. You will write, oh, and the challenge does this, and then you're like, does it actually do it? How does it do it? And you're like, go back to IDA and you're like, it does it like this. There's a bug here. Yeah, this is absolutely common. And this is a great trick. Write it down, this is a great trick. The last idea is go to sleep or go for a walk. Yeah, if you're tired, if you're looking at the challenge for 20 hours, you might want to go and grab a couple of hours of sleep, and with a fresh mind, it's easier, faster to spot mistakes. That's also something I use or used to do when I was playing. And the last question from Mateusz. Do you experience sometimes those stupid real-life problems like issues with adding a network printer or so? Or do you eat such like a cookie? No, yeah, absolutely. I absolutely get these problems too. These are typical. Printers are easy. Printers are scary. Printers are hard, and printers can sense fear. So do not show your fear when looking at a printer, because then a printer will just be annoying to you. That's the typical IT joke there, I guess. Yeah, that's typical. Sometimes it's takes a long time to do something which is supposed to be easy, which is supposed to be done by a end user in a couple of minutes, and you're stuck for 2 hours trying to figure out what's wrong. And sometimes it's easy, but your network configuration is this super amazing thing which you designed 2 years ago, and actually the printer doesn't like it because nobody at the company thought that somebody might have such a complicated, weird network configuration or something, but that happens a lot. Perfect. Thank you to KrzaQ for being my moderator today. Thank you for everyone here that you came and you watched me trying to solve some challenges. And see you tomorrow if you speak Polish, and see you next week on another PicoCTF if you don't speak Polish. So have a great day. And yeah, I'm going to leave you with some music. So again, thank you to my moderator, and see you next week, folks. Best of luck and happy hacking.